Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're delving deep into the heart of querulous Osman, focusing on the ever-evolving, complex character of Osman Bey as we look ahead to what the upcoming period, particularly around what many of you are anticipating as episode 162, might hold. This analysis will remain spoiler-free, instead exploring the potential psychological currents and thematic undercurrents that could shape Osman Bey's journey in the next chapter of this epic saga. The weight of a nascent state, the future of the K tribe, and indeed the hopes of many rest squarely on his shoulders, and it's this immense pressure that continues to forge his character in fascinating ways. How does a leader, a father, a husband, and a warrior navigate such treacherous waters without losing his moral compass or his strategic acumen? This is a question the series continually explores, and Osman Bey's responses are rarely simple. The recent episodes have undoubtedly pushed Osman Bey to his limits, testing his resolve and forcing him to confront threats on multiple fronts. We've seen him grapple with enemies who are not just brute force but also masters of intrigue and manipulation, such as the ever-present Byzantine threat and shadowy figures like the Grand Master, whose intricate plots often aim to sow discord from within. This constant external pressure inevitably shapes his internal world. Could we be seeing an Osman Bey who is becoming increasingly wary, perhaps even more isolated in his decision-making processes? When betrayal can lurk in unexpected corners, how does one maintain trust, not only in allies but also in the very systems being established? Think about the sophisticated traps laid for him and his loved ones. These are not just physical battles but profound psychological assaults. What are your thoughts on how these persistent dangers are molding Osman Bey's approach to leadership and his interpersonal relationships? We'd love to hear your perspectives in the comments below. One of the most compelling aspects of Osman Bey's character is his role as a father to Orhan Bey and Alaeddin Ali. Their growing involvement in state matters and their own budding ambitions and challenges present a unique psychological dimension for Osman. He is not just a Bey carving out a state, he is a father guiding his sons through a perilous world, preparing them for futures laden with immense responsibility. The dangers his children face are often a direct consequence of his own path and ambitions. How does this paternal instinct, this fierce desire to protect his progeny while also needing to steel them for the harsh realities of their world, influence his strategic choices? Might we see situations in the upcoming episode where Osman's decisions are torn between the pragmatism of a ruler and the heart of a father? For instance, if a particular military campaign or political alliance could bring great benefit to the state but simultaneously place one of his sons in heightened danger, how would he navigate that internal conflict? Could this lead to moments of profound introspection or even rare displays of vulnerability? It's these internal struggles that add such rich layers to his portrayal. Furthermore, the narrative often presents Osman Bey with complex moral dilemmas. The path to founding and securing a state is seldom clean, and choices often have to be made between lesser evils or sacrifices for a greater, albeit distant, good. Are we about to witness Osman Bey confronting a situation that truly tests the limits of his ethical framework? Perhaps a scenario where an old enemy offers a tempting alliance against a newer, more dangerous foe, forcing him to consider compromising on past grievances for future security. Or maybe an internal matter requires a harsh judgment that could alienate some of his own people but is deemed necessary for the unity and survival of the tribe. How does Osman Bey rationalize such decisions? Does he carry the weight of these choices visibly, or does he internalize them, adding to the silent burdens he bears? The series has shown him to be a man of deep faith and conviction, but even the most resolute faith can be tested when faced with impossible choices. What kind of decision do you think would challenge Osman Bey the most at this stage of his journey? The alliances Osman Bey forges and maintains are critical to his success, but they are also sources of potential psychological stress. Trust is a precious commodity, hard-earned and easily shattered. In the world of querulous Osman, allies can turn into adversaries, and an enemy today might, under certain circumstances, become a reluctant partner tomorrow. How is Osman navigating these complex diplomatic waters? We've seen characters like Gonca Hatun and Elsem Hatun and figures from other Turkoman principalities play significant roles. The interactions with these characters and the underlying currents of their motivations surely occupy Osman Bey's strategic mind. Could the upcoming episode introduce a new dynamic in his existing alliances, or perhaps force him to reevaluate the loyalty of someone he has come to depend on? The subtle cues in his interactions, the guarded expressions, the thoughtful pauses before speaking, these often betray the careful calculations happening within his mind. Are there any particular relationships you believe will be central to the challenges Osman Bey faces next? Let us know your theories. Considering the broader themes of the series, such as justice, unity, and the dream of a future state that offers peace and order under just Islamic rule, Osman Bey's psychological state is intrinsically linked to his perception of progress towards these goals. Every setback, every betrayal, every loss of a loyal soldier is not just a strategic blow but also a personal one, a chipping away at the monumental effort he is expending. Yet, he must consistently project strength and unwavering resolve to inspire his people. This dichotomy between his internal struggles and his external persona is a cornerstone of his character. Might we see a moment where this carefully constructed exterior shows a few cracks, allowing us a deeper glimpse into the man beneath the title of Bey? Perhaps a quiet moment of reflection with Bala Hatton, who has always been his staunchest supporter and confidant, could reveal the toll these burdens are taking. Or, conversely, will continued challenges only serve to further harden his resolve, making him even more formidable? The narrative arc often positions Osman Bey against antagonists who are not only militarily powerful but also ideologically opposed to his vision. The Byzantine emperor, for example, represents an old world order struggling against the rise of a new power. This clash of civilizations is also a clash of wills, a psychological battle of attrition. How does Osman Bey sustain his vision and his morale when faced with such entrenched opposition, an enemy that has vast resources and centuries of imperial tradition behind it? Does he draw strength from his faith, his family, his loyal Alps, or from the tangible progress he makes, however incremental? The upcoming episode will likely continue to explore this dynamic, perhaps by introducing a new layer to the Byzantine strategy or a new challenge orchestrated by his enemies that is designed to break his spirit as much as his armies. Could this involve an attack on something deeply symbolic to Osman Bey and the Ki identity? As we ponder the psychological depth of Osman Bey's character in the context of the next episode, let's consider the long-term vision. Osman is not just fighting for today, he is laying the foundations for centuries to come. This foresight, this ability to look beyond immediate concerns and plan for a distant future must create a unique psychological space. Does he feel the weight of future generations judging his actions? The series often hints at this through his prayers, his strategic planning sessions, and his efforts to instill values in his children and his people. This sense of historical responsibility is a profound motivator but also a significant burden. How do you think this long-term perspective influences his day-to-day decisions and his ability to cope with immediate crises? Does it offer him solace, or does it add to the pressure he feels? Finally, the concept of leadership itself is a constant psychological trial. Osman Bey must balance compassion with firmness, justice with mercy, and boldness with caution. He must inspire loyalty, detect deceit, and make life-and-death decisions regularly. Are there specific leadership qualities you anticipate will be highlighted or tested in the upcoming episode? Perhaps his ability to unite disparate factions or his resilience in the face of a major setback. The psychological toll of leadership, especially in such a volatile and formative period, is immense. We see him as the strong leader, but the internal landscape is undoubtedly far more turbulent than his outward demeanor often suggests. What aspects of his leadership do you find most compelling, and how do you foresee them being challenged next? The beauty of Kurulus Osman lies in its ability to weave grand historical narratives with intimate character studies. Osman Bey is at the heart of this, a figure of immense historical significance whose internal world is as captivating as the battles he fights. As we approach the next phase of his story, these psychological dimensions, his anxieties, his resolve, his paternal instincts, his strategic cunning, and his unwavering faith will undoubtedly continue to be explored, offering us further insight into the man behind the legend. We look forward to seeing how these elements unfold and invite you to continue this discussion in the comments below. What are your key predictions for Osman Bey's psychological journey in the episodes to come? Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. As we stand on the cusp of what promises to be another pivotal chapter in Kurulus Osman, with episode 162 soon to grace our screens, it feels like the perfect moment to delve deeper into the mind of the man at the center of it all, Osman Bey. The title of our discussion today is The Psychological Depth of Osman Bey's Character, and we'll be exploring the intricate layers of his persona against the backdrop of anticipated events, all without spoiling the upcoming narrative, of course. The information we have suggests significant movements are afoot, from grand military ambitions to insidious internal plots, and each of these will undoubtedly test Osman Bey in new and profound ways. The winds of change seem to be blowing decisively towards Bursa. Summaries indicate that Osman Bey, having navigated the treacherous currents of turbulent politics and seemingly brought a measure of peace or at least dominance, is now setting his sights firmly on this grand prize. This isn't just a strategic objective for Osman. Bursa represents a monumental step towards the fulfillment of his sacred dream, the establishment of a state that will endure. But what is the psychological toll, the internal landscape of a leader embarking on such a colossal undertaking? One can imagine a mind constantly at work weighing the sacrifices made and those yet to come. Having recently dealt with internal power struggles and losses such as the tragic death of Gunduz Bey, an event that must still cast a long shadow over the KE, how does Osman Bey steel himself for this new, perhaps greatest, challenge? Is there a quiet moment of reflection before the storm, or is his resolve now so hardened that he moves with an almost singular, unstoppable focus? It makes one wonder what will be his very first tactical gambit in this chess game for Bursa. Will we witness a cautious, methodical approach, or will a characteristically bold stroke signal his intentions to the world? The fate of not just his tribe, but potentially a future empire, rests on these decisions. What are your initial thoughts on how Osman will initiate this campaign? Share your theories in the comments section below. Adding another layer to this unfolding drama is the reported mass migration of Yorick tribes, drawn by Osman Bey's growing renown and the promise of a new beginning under his banner. This is, on the surface, a testament to his burgeoning power and the hope he inspires. Psychologically, this must be a source of immense validation for Osman, yet it also brings with it an enormous weight of responsibility. These are people who are uprooting their lives, placing their faith entirely in his leadership. How does a leader like Osman internalize this? Does it amplify the pressure to succeed, or does it serve as a powerful affirmation of his path, strengthening his resolve further? The practicalities of integrating such a large influx of people, ensuring their safety and sustenance, especially with a major military campaign on the horizon, are daunting. Could this migration itself be a calculated part of Osman's initial strategy for the siege of Bursa, perhaps to create a support network or a demographic shift around the city? Or is it a more organic consequence of his victories that he must now deftly manage? It poses the question, will these arriving Yoricks be a seamless source of strength, or will their arrival also present unforeseen challenges that test Osman's administrative and diplomatic skills even before the swords are drawn at Bursa's walls? Amidst the strategic machinations and the shadow of impending conflict, there are also hints of personal joy within the KE. News is expected of Gonca Hatun, Aladdin Bey's wife, being with child. In the often harsh and unforgiving world of querulous Osman, such moments are precious, serving as reminders of what they are fighting for: family, legacy, and the continuity of their people. For Osman Bey, who has shouldered so much loss and carries the burden of leadership so visibly, how does news like this resonate? Does it offer a private moment of solace, a glimpse of the future he is striving to build? One might ask, how will this joyous development affect the overall morale of the KE tribe, especially with the difficult path to Bursa ahead? Could it perhaps soften, even momentarily, the hardened stances of figures like Yaqub Bey, Gonca's father, or are the political fault lines too deep to be bridged by personal happiness? It's these human moments that provide such a rich texture to the narrative, reminding us that these are not just warriors and leaders, but people with deeply personal lives and emotions. However, the light of such news often casts darker shadows, and it seems episode 162 will be no exception. There are troubling whispers of a new betrayal brewing, a plot that may center around Osman Hatun. The threat from within is a recurring nightmare for Osman Bey, arguably more painful and potentially more damaging than any external enemy. After all he has endured, how does Osman maintain his vigilance, his ability to trust, when the seeds of treachery can sprout so close to home? The psychological weariness of constantly looking over one's shoulder, of suspecting those within your own circle, must be immense. Who could be the architects of this new intrigue targeting Osman Hatun? Is she an unwilling pawn, manipulated by forces she doesn't understand, or is there a deeper, more complex motive at play? And then there's the question of Halafira. Her position has always been unique, caught between cultures and loyalties. How might she become entangled in this web, and what choices will she be forced to make? This storyline raises a critical point about Osman's leadership. How does he balance the need for decisive action against traitors with the wisdom to uncover the full truth, especially when emotions and past loyalties might be involved? We've seen him tested by betrayal many times. Will this new plot reveal a different facet of his response? What are your theories on who is pulling the strings this time, and what their ultimate aim might be? We encourage you to share your perspectives in the comments. And as if the burden of a major campaign and internal conspiracies were not enough, it appears Osman Bey will once again be the direct target of an assassination attempt, this time orchestrated by none other than Constantine Palaiologos, the Byzantine commander who was responsible for the order leading to Gündüz Bey's death. The audacity of such an attack, especially when Osman is on the verge of a major offensive, speaks volumes about the desperation of his enemies. From a psychological standpoint, how does Osman Bey continue to function under such constant, direct threats to his life? Is it sheer courage, an unshakable faith in his destiny, or a pragmatic acceptance of the dangers that come with his ambition? Perhaps it's a combination of all these. One has to wonder if these relentless attempts to eliminate him fuel an even fiercer fire within him, a resolve to see his mission through no matter the personal cost. What kind of insidious plot will Constantine hatch this time? Will it be a desperate, open assault, or something more cunning designed to strike when Osman is least expecting it? This imminent threat will undoubtedly test the loyalty and effectiveness of Osman's Alps and his inner circle. How will they shield their leader, and how will Osman himself navigate this overt act of aggression while keeping his larger plans for Bursa on track? Considering the recent loss of Gündüz Bey, for which Constantine Palaiologos bears ultimate responsibility, this upcoming confrontation, or at least the attempt on Osman's life by Constantine, takes on a deeper, more personal dimension. Osman isn't just fighting a political enemy, he's facing the man who brought profound grief to his family and tribe. How will this undercurrent of vengeance, or the pursuit of justice for Gündüz, shape Osman's mindset and actions in the face of this threat? Will it lead to a more ruthless approach, or will his strategic mind still dictate his every move, even when faced with a personal nemesis? The psychological fortitude required to balance the pursuit of a grand vision like the conquest of Bursa with the immediate, visceral threats to his own life and the emotional wounds of recent losses is extraordinary. It is this complex interplay of ambition, grief, resilience, and unwavering faith that defines Osman Bey's character and keeps us so deeply invested in his journey. As we look towards episode 162, the question isn't just what will happen, but how these events will further shape the man who is destined to lay the foundations of an empire. What aspects of Osman's character are you most keen to see tested or revealed in the next episode?